All right, here we go. We have no other than Sergeant Ghost from the great state of Ohio. Oh yeah, Ohio, man. A lot of people don't realize there's a lot of Confederate history of Ohio, and we're glad to have him on here today. Um, you still see me pretty good? We still good on our connection?
Yeah,
Awesome. All right, so I want to start off by asking. We go ahead and jump into it, man. Would you like to explain or talk about to all the Copperhead Nation and everyone out there about some of the history from Ohio? A lot of people may not know, so I'm gonna just turn it over to you on. You can just have the floor on the history, the Confederate history in the state of Ohio. Did it cut out?
there it goes.
You hear me?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay.
Um, so a lot of people think that the Confederacy is in the South and then the Union's in the North, but a lot of people don't understand that it went further than that and way further than that. And Ohio is actually considered a Copperhead state during the war. Um, I mean, I feel like this state contributed a lot for the Confederacy, even though we were way past the Mason-Dixon line. Um, I mean, we had six Ohio-born Confederate generals in the Confederate Army. We had a real big Copperhead movement in this state, which there was a lot of key figures for that. Um, I mean, another one was William Clark Quantrell that a lot of people have heard of. He was originally born here in Ohio. I mean, people don't understand that this state contributed a lot to the South, more than what people actually understand and know.
Yeah, it's pretty good, man. A lot of people they hear these names, man, and they just take it and think it's from either the East Coast or down south. And man, some of the real good ones, man, actually from your part of the country, and a lot of people don't realize that. So, man, it's there's a lot of history with Cortell. I can't pronounce his name right, but there's a lot of Confederate history with it, man. And so
Hmm.
you have been out. I mean, have you been out to these graves and these monuments? There's a lot of the monuments and it wasn't there. I meant to ask you this too. Was there a POW camp, a Confederate POW camp in Ohio? You hear me?
There you are.
All right. Was there a POW camp in Ohio, like a Confederate one?
We have there's Johnson's Island up there, and it's up there in Lake Erie, and they've got a Confederate monument up there, which has been threatened to be taken down. I don't know how many times, but it's all it is a bunch of what Johnson's Island is right now is just basically a housing, like a vacation home type thing, to where people pay an HOA and then they go up there and they vacation for the summer and then they leave in the wintertime. So they're not there very long. But that was a prison camp, during the war, and there's still Confederates that are buried there. And there's a big monument there, and people have threatened to tie a chain around that thing and yank it down. I don't know how many times. Um, I think there's one. Pretty sure there's a small little monument down close to Cincinnati that it commemorates the Lee Highway. Is basically what it's called. Which it got taken down a long time ago, but eventually it got put back. Um, Camp Chase down there in Columbus, the cemetery down there. There's a monument there, which it got yanked down and decapitated. Um, so they actually fixed it, put it back up, and it's still standing, as we speak. Well, hopefully.
Yeah, Camp Chase is one I was thinking about. That's one I remember hearing about a long time ago. Um, did they do any kind of like events at these camps or anything like I don't know like like some type of reef ceremony or any of that kind of stuff you think that goes on that to honor the
Yeah, yeah, they do something up at Johnson's Island. They do something at Camp Chase as well. Um, what stinks is that every time they do something down there, I can't go because I'm working or I can't get the time off to go. But yeah, they do um, a ceremony there at both of them because my fourth great grandfather is buried at Camp Chase, and I know some people in some other organizations. They actually did something special for him to where they put some flowers and a wreath and stuff there at his grave, which I really greatly appreciated that.
so he was a prisoner of war. Your ancestor was.
hmm He, my fourth great grandfather, his name was Willis Rice. He was a private. He was in the 3rd Battalion of the Kentucky Mounted Rifles. He was from Pendleton County, Kentucky, which is in like the northern part of the state, close to Ohio, which was primarily more pro-Union than Confederate. And he caught a lot of crap for it. Like he had his farm, he had stuff stolen from his farm and raided because he sided more with the Confederacy than he did with the Union. And so he joined, the Confederate Army with the Kentucky Mounted Rifles. And from what I've seen or what I researched is that he was captured around in that same area where he lived. And they sent him to Camp Chase, and that's where he died in 1864.
So I'm sure that before we move on, I got one more question about the POW camps. Um, I'm pretty sure it's kind of like Andersonville, man. I'm sure the conditions were pretty awful. A lot of people, they want to talk about Andersonville and how bad it was,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot, but a lot of people don't want to talk about the Confederates that were locked up and how bad the conditions they were. And I mean, even down here, you do have a lot of heat and a lot of disease and stuff, but up there, man, you had a lot of cold weather and you know, I'm sure those Confederate prisoners, man. I mean, I'm sure the conditions were just as bad as Andersonville, and like I said, it's just stuff people don't really talk about a lot. That it's always Andersonville. You hear about Andersonville, they make movies about it, but you don't hear about the other
Mm-hmm.
end of it. And so I'm sure I ain't never been to that camp up there. Is it pretty? Did they still have it kind of way it was when the Confederates were locked up there?
Um, it's not too bad. I mean, it's literally right in downtown Columbus, Ohio. And if anybody knows Columbus, Ohio, it's not really that. It can be bad. Let's just say that. And like I said, they've had a lot of vandalism and stuff like that up there. Like I said, somebody yanked the monument down and cut the head of it off. And this was a few years back they did that, but I mean it'll take your breath away once you stand there and you see the amount of headstones that are there because I'm pretty sure there's over like 2,000 headstones that are there, and it'll kind of take your breath away seeing all those monuments, those little headstones sticking up out of the ground.
So it's kind of like Andersonville, then, right? I mean, it's pretty
Yeah,
about put together about the same way, I guess. So,
yeah,
um,
it's got a big rock wall and stuff around it.
all right. Well, I'm gonna move on to my next question. So Copperhead, and you're sergeant in the Copperheads in Ohio. You want to talk a little bit about the stuff you're having to? Because I mean, there's not a lot of. I don't know if there's a lot up there or not when it comes to people joining, and it's kind of tougher, I guess, up there with in your area. You want to talk about the Copperheads, how that come about for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I ran across the Copperheads, a few years ago on social media, and I really, really liked what I saw with everything you guys did and everything. And, I looked into other organizations, but I really, really, love what you guys did with the Brotherhood and stuff like that. And me, um, being, 10 years in the oil and gas industry, I kind of take that Brotherhood stuff to heart because, um, I remember back in 2014 when I came into the oil field, my mentor, he pounded in my head that, these guys are your family. You see these guys more than you see your own family, and you don't throw your family under the bus. And that mentality has stuck with me since 2014. And that's what I like seeing you guys do. And I wanted to be a member. And so I reached out to, other members that I knew, and they got me in contact with someone, and you know the rest is history. I mean,
Oh yeah,
getting sworn in down at Stone Mountain was awesome. Like, I'll never forget that. I think that was a really, really, really cool thing.
oh yeah, yeah. Stone Mountain's pretty cool. I just it needs a little work done to it, man, because it's getting a little. I don't know what's happening with it, but it's I kind of wish they clean it or do some stuff to it, make it look a little prettier. But man, it's still an awesome sight to see down in Stone Mountain.
Yeah,
So
I was just happy to be there. Like, it was just I mean, it was awesome to see. It took my breath away walking in there and seeing the Snow Mountain. If I've seen it from pictures, I've actually even seen it from airplanes flying out of Atlanta, because I used to fly out of Atlanta Airport a lot, and we flew over top of it, but I never got to see it up close. And when you see it up close, it's breathtaking.
Oh yeah, man! I'll tell you, couple about a month or so ago, Captain Ringo out of Texas was in town, and really wasn't sure if he was even going to have time to stop in, but was able to run up with him. He had never been to Stone Mountain, and he was just breathtaking by it because he said the pictures and videos and everything he's seen. It just ain't the same actually seeing it in person, and going up there looking at it. He was really, I could tell he was blown away about it. So it was pretty cool.
Hmm.
Well, so before we get off of here, anything, man, you want anybody out there to know about Ohio and the Copperheads or the Confederate history or the stuff? If people are coming to Ohio, man, I mean, what direction would you point them when it comes to the Confederacy in Ohio or anything in that nature?
But I mean, basically, I would tell people. Look at the Copperhead history of the state. There was a bunch of key figures in Ohio. Um, there was his name was Clement L. Valdingham, which I think Rocco and them know about who he is. He was a Dayton, Ohio attorney, and he was a U.S. congressman who became the permanent national leader of the Copperhead movement here in Ohio. He was actually arrested in 1863 for the he was defying military orders against publicity, declaring sympathies for the enemy, and he was arrested by General Burnside and court-martialed and banished to the Confederacy. So, and then there was a fellow named Samuel. He was an Ohio newspaper editor who basically went against President Lincoln's policies. It's just, if, like what I was saying earlier, people don't understand that there's other states north of the Mason-Dixon line that had a lot to do with the Confederacy. Um, and it's just that's what I love learning about, and going to, like, there's some Confederates that are buried here in Ohio, and I try to go to them and clean their graves and, make them more presentable, because I mean, I wouldn't want my grave to go unforgotten. So that's kind of how I think of it with them is I want them to know that they're not forgotten, especially up here. And because there's quite a bit to see and do around here, and I know there's more out there. I just got to find it.
That's right. Yeah, we definitely want to carry on the memory of the Confederate soldiers and just the heroes that they are and what they went through. Definitely don't need to be forgotten because I feel like of all the throughout history, man, I think they get kind of the bad rap more than anything else, man. And I think that's very unfair.
Mm-hmm.
What these men and women what they went through back then. We we kind of it's different times we live in now, but it was rough. I'm sure it was rough for all of them back then. So definitely need to continue to honor their great names and their monuments and the cemeteries and that's what we all here to do, and especially here in the Copperheads.
Mm-hmm.
And and it just doesn't matter what state you're in. If there's something there, we need to definitely keep eye on it and try to help when we can. Well, man, I don't have any other question. You got anything else you like to throw in there that we might have left out?
Well, I got one more thing. And another thing that I am a firm believer into and doing with the Confederacy and honoring the Confederacy is get you some Confederate money. I got a whole stack of it right here. Me and my buddy John, I think that's a cool thing to do is to honor the Confederacy too is save that kind of stuff. Because like with those bills, you don't know whose pocket this could have been in. Could have been in Jefferson Davis, Robert E. Lee. You never know. You never know whose pocket those bills were in. And that's why I love buying them and I love saving them. Just to have that thought in my head of what if, that's why I love it. It runs through my veins, even though I'm here in Ohio. I believe the Confederate blood runs through my veins. I knew ever since I was a little kid, I had some sort of ties to the Confederacy, and then having help with my genealogy and stuff like that. And then, I found I was distantly related to James Lawson Kemper, which he was one of the generals that took part in Pickett's charge at Gettysburg. He's a distant cousin, but then when my fourth great grandfather was found, that right there was like, I knew it. Like I knew I had that blood in my veins. I knew I did. So that's why I'm very, very passionate about it. And that's why I love being a Copperhead, because I know you guys are too. And I think I made the right decision.
Oh yeah, man, we're definitely glad to have men like you and what you're behind and what you're wanting to accomplish. So, man, it's just that's who as Copperheads. This is the people we need. And good thing about us too as well. A lot of people don't realize too now. You don't have to have an ancestor. You don't have to have an ancestor to join the Copperheads, man. You just got to have the love and the
Right.
the drive to go out and support anything when it comes to Confederate history and
Yeah.
things like that. So that sets us out. That kind of sets.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, and the whole you don't have to have an ancestor that fought to join, and that is one thing that I love about this group is that you don't have to have one to join, as long as, like I said, as long as you have the passion and the go to honor the Confederacy and the soldiers, what they went through. Hey, come on aboard. We'd love to have you.
There you go. Well, everyone, like I said, we're gonna get off of here, and we're glad you took the time to just talk about Ohio a little bit for everyone out there, man. It's just pretty cool, man. And like I said, looking forward to being up that way at some point and kind of learning my own history of the what you got up there in your backyard in Ohio. Before I get off here though, man, I noticed you got a pretty cool looking T-shirt on.
Oh yeah, you like it, huh? Yeah.
There you go. That's one of our couple months ago.
I
I
had
found
to. I mean,
one of the.
I had to represent, man. I mean,
Hey man, we love it down here, man. That's for sure, and always good to see people wearing our Georgia stuff, man. It's pretty awesome, and so I had to throw that in there at the end. But well, then again, Sergeant Ghost, man, I appreciate your time, man, and your knowledge, and just informing everyone what you have going on, and all the stuff that hopefully people now get a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more grip on knowing what's going on in Ohio, man. That's pretty cool, man. And I want everybody out there to know, Ohio's on the website at copperheadnational.org. He's on the chapter on there. Just click on it. The website is constantly updating, so there's always information that's constantly going in there to update the website. So, and I know one of the chapter is Ohio on there with the rest of us. So, and also too, this video will be on our YouTube channel. It's at Copperhead National. Pretty simple to find us on YouTube. This video will be on here, and please like and share and subscribe. And Sergeant Ghost, man, again, appreciate your time, man. And we're gonna get off of here, and we'll be seeing you pretty soon, man. We got I know we got 4th National coming
no,
up. I don't know if you can make it or not, but if not,
I'm,
regardless, man.
I'm definitely trying, and I appreciate this. I really do. I thank you for doing this, and it's awesome. I love it.
Hey man, we're gonna grow. We're gonna build this together as a group, man, and hopefully get the word out more. And this is just another way of doing it and getting like I said, it's just here to educate and inform people what's going on, and we're gonna take it and run with it. So, hey man, enjoy your weekend, and I appreciate it again, and we'll see you soon, brother.
See ya.